is the pillars, and this is the culture pyramid. Okay? In addition to those four, there's also the green board, which is the rectangle, and those are our 5 icons that we use to capture who we are. Okay, everybody with me? Okay, so I'm going to go back to where we started from, and Bert started by talking about culture. And everybody notice what it says on the front here? What does it say? Created by culture. It doesn't say that I created culture, right? It doesn't suggest that we have any control over it. So the thing about culture is that it's very elemental and physical, okay? It's like gravity. It's not something that you can control. It's not something that you work on to get better at. It is what it is, okay? So what's important that y'all coming into our organization understand what our culture is, and we ask you that you embrace it, okay? So we understand that our culture is not for everybody, and that's okay. If it's not for you, we hope that you'll remain our customer, and that you can come in and you're gonna get Rocky Mountain Hospitality, and we're gonna get you some great food and great service. But in order to be successful in our organization, you really need to embrace the culture, okay? And one more time, can I get somebody to turn around for a moment? Mr. TJ, can you come up here? Sir. The 3 words that capture our culture are victory, domination, and survival. So I'm going to recap and just give you a little bit different perspective. It's really the exact same thing Burke started with, but just through my eyes, okay? Number 1 is survival. There's something that's primordial about being in the restaurant business. Have you all ever watched 24? Or am I too old and none of you can relate? Does anybody ever watch 24? Is that it? Serious? Okay, well, it's been a while since I've watched it too, but the very interesting thing about that show is that it's suspense. From the very moment that it starts till the very moment it ends. Y'all have never watched that show? Seriously? They've done a thing that no other filmmaker or TV show has ever done before, where there's suspense from the very moment it starts, and it goes on for like 10 seasons, 24 episodes. It's absolutely insane that they can sustain that level of suspense through the entire season after season after season, right? The reason why I say that is because there's something about the restaurant business that there's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of urgency when it comes to moving your ass, right? And where does that come from? Where does that come from? Why is there this immense pressure in the restaurant business to perform? And it comes from us, the leaders, right? And we want our ticket times fast. We want to make sure that we're getting to the table in 1 minute, so it creates this immense sense of urgency, right? And with this urgency and nervous energy, there's a survival thing going on, right? If y'all have been working in the restaurant industry, everybody's had a difficult shift, correct? Right? There's something primordial about a difficult shift, and you're just trying to get through it. You're just trying to survive. You're just trying to get out of the weeds. Okay, this is the restaurant business, and we embrace it, and that's why there's this survival piece on our culture. Okay, everybody with me so far? Okay, piece number 2 is domination, and domination is when winning's not good enough, right? And there's a difference between winning a battle and winning a war, and winning a game and getting the Super Bowl trophy, okay? And domination is when winning's not good enough and you really are striving for that overall victory, okay? So with the survival and this battle that's going on and the overall long-term goal of being dominant, the reward and the satisfaction that comes out of it is where victory comes into play. Okay, so we all been in the restaurant industry, gone through a very difficult shift. At the end, why do we come back again? We come back because of that sense of victory, right? It's your reward. It's your emotional reward for getting through what you just went through, okay? And why do we come back for more? Because we're restaurant people. We enjoy the victory. It gives us satisfaction and makes it all worthwhile, okay? So that's the culture pyramid and the 3 words that describe it, and this is FRG, okay? That's the culture pyramid. Thank you, sir. Okay, piece number 2 is the hourglass. The hourglass is our workflow and communication model. So Burke's going to talk a little bit more about our philosophy in that we are genuinely servant leaders. And what does that mean? That means that I work for Chris, and Chris works for the DOs, and the DOs work for the general managers. The general managers work for the assistants, and all the way up to the front line. Okay, that's what true servant leadership is. That's what we believe in. It's how we run our company, and that's our workflow model. Okay, that's the top of the hourglass. Once you all get a little bit more familiar with our organization, our company, we'll start talking about the training funnel and how that applies to your training. Okay, and then we're also going to talk about metrics. And for FRG, we got 174 different metrics that are going to be tripwires and alarms so that they let us know that things aren't going well. And they also let us know when things are going well, okay? So workflow, metrics, and then the other piece is the communication model, okay? So hierarchy, and you think about like the Army, they have a hierarchy. What it really is a communication model, right? It's how you get the word out throughout the organization, and it's a communication model. So that's the bottom piece of the hourglass, and that is the FRG hourglass, okay? So when you all see this and we're talking about it, you'll know what it is. On the right here, this is our escalator, and the escalator, if you can imagine, trying to get to the top of the escalator and it's going down, right? Have you ever tried to do that as kids and stuff? Try to get up the escalator, it's going down. Fast as you go, you know, chances are you're still gonna end up at the bottom, right? So in order to be a truly great restaurant organization, we have to continue to raise the bar. We have to continue to create a next step. Now, what we got here, then we can create a new step. Once we get here, we're gonna create another one. And Mr. Burke and Chris and I and Melissa and the team at the office are committed to never becoming complacent. We're always gonna have a next step. Every single time. Your chances are you'll never get to the top of the escalator, and that's part of what makes us who we are, is that we're never gonna settle. We're always gonna create a new level of excellence, okay? That's the escalator. The pillars in the left corner here, again, in the effort to, in the pursuit of becoming a great restaurant organization, this is how we define what a great restaurant organization is. There's 4 elements to the pillars, and I'm just going to touch on them extremely briefly. One is that we have to have great people, okay? Great organizations come because there's great people involved, not the other way around. Okay, number 2 is that back to the good to great model, in that every great organization has to have something that differentiates them from the competition and sets themselves apart, okay? So what is that for us? It's a 2-sided coin in that situation. One is an opportunity, and Burke mentioned, you know, that number 1, we're looking to one of y'all to become the kitchen manager. We're confident that one of y'all is out here sitting amongst us, and we didn't even hire the second manager because we believe that we're gonna see great in one of y'all and we're gonna bring it out of you. And there's our next kitchen manager, okay? So in addition to our people, the opportunity piece, next we have our intellectual property. That's our logos, our recipes, all of the things that are very distinctly us, okay? That's our intellectual property. And piece number 4, help me out here, Chris, I'm missing one. world-class training. So we're going to talk throughout this about shadow share and solo. It's the foundation of our training program and our philosophy for training. And this is an extremely accelerated version of what you all will experience moving forward. If you're a server, you want to become a bartender, you're going to go through a program that begins with shadow, moves on to share, and finishes with solo. Okay? And last but not least is the rectangle icon, and that's the green board. And I'm going to hand it over to Bert from there for the green board.
Okay.